now with a health alert that hits home for us here at ABC News. Linsey, for years you have struggled with fibroids.
It is something that I never really talked about, just kept pushing through most of the time, like so many women do, despite the pain. But now I've decided to have a surgery to get rid of the fibroids, and at the same time I want to bring attention to something that millions of women suffer from, often silently.
I've always been relatively healthy, but in a few days I'll be undergoing a major surgery. For years, I've been plagued by fibroids, and until recently, I rarely talked about them, even as they silently shaped parts of my life.
Good.
Fibroids are non-cancerous tumors that grow in the uterus. About 5 years ago, I had a surgery to have them removed, but they grew back, more of them and bigger.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Linsey Davis.
For years, I powered through painful menstrual cycles, extreme fatigue, and severe bloating, all while smiling through newscasts and brushing off any discomfort.
Let's go.
But it did give me pause this past March.
I'm Linsey Davis, along with the ever-dapper Whit Johnson, the real-life Oscar statuette in the flesh.
When the fibroids caused my belly to protrude so much on the red carpet, people on Twitter thought I was pregnant. Uterine fibroids affect roughly 70% of all women by the age of 50, but they're 3 times more common and often more severe in Black women, and they typically go undetected until some kind of discomfort begins.
Fibroids can be absolutely miserable and debilitating. Some women cannot go to work when they're on their period because they are in misery due to the cramping and the abundance of bleeding.
In recent weeks, celebrities like Venus Williams and Lupita Nyong'o have also tried to break the taboo, posting their own battles with fibroids. While fibroids are typically a topic many shy away from discussing, I'm now leaning into the conversation with others who are brave enough to share their struggles publicly.
I didn't know that it was fibroids. I thought it was a normal period, a heavy, ridiculous normal period where you miss school, you have insane cramps, and that was not a conversation in a household full of women, Black women, that we should have been sitting around on this couch speaking about.
Everyone was suffering in silence.
Suffering in silence.
It's a public health issue. The fibroid burden in this country alone is upwards of nearly $4 billion, more than most cancers put together that women suffer from, and we just don't know it.
As a journalist, it's my privilege to tell the stories of others, and now by telling my own story, my hope is that more women will no longer have to suffer in silence. I saw you nodding along there. Want to bring in Dr. Darien Sutton. You are very familiar with this. Give us a sense of some of the most prominent symptoms that are often maybe dismissed.
I'm extremely familiar because many of the complications often bring patients to the emergency room. And I just have to say, as a journalist, you're sharing your space, but as a physician, I have to thank you. Providing this awareness opens the door for many people, so many, as said in this piece, dealing silently with this diagnosis, helping them to get to an earlier diagnosis, which inevitably saves lives. So thank you, Linsey. But in terms of the symptoms with this, it's important to understand that bleeding is one of them, but anemia is a side effect of that bleeding, and that can often cause symptoms of fatigue, feeling weakness, even sometimes misdiagnosed as depression, as many women cannot get up with the strength without the ability, and mainly because they don't have the iron from the anemia. And it also can lead to abdominal pain, pelvic pain, and the actual presence of a fibroid can interrupt urination, interrupt your bowel habits, and so sometimes it often leads women down a path of the wrong diagnosis because they don't understand where it started.
And Linsey very impactfully shared her story, and thank you. Let me add my thanks for that. That was wonderful. But we know Linsey's path, but what are the paths for treatment and other things for other people? Yeah, well, Linsey's story helps to understand some of the treatments, and it's important to know that there are many different ways to treat this, and it's often focused on how it interrupts the patient's life. That's how we develop the treatment plan. And that can include things that are minimally invasive, even just conservative options where you're just mindfully watching it and waiting for the symptoms to do what to see what happens. And then in other cases, you can treat with hormone therapy. In other cases, there are minimally invasive ablations where you can decrease the blood flow to the fibroid. And then there's the option of surgery. And of course, all of these options are different for each case of fibroids.
Dr. Sutton, I'd imagine that even before you get to the steps of treatment, you have to have recognizing that you need to go and talk to someone. And Linsey, you sharing your story, so many women that both that look like us and women around the country are going to be able to find a little bit of solace, I believe, in your story.
Yes,
what's your message of hope?
You know, and this is 7 out of 10 women in general across any race, and so it's impacting so many people. I think that there is hope. You just have to talk to your doctor and talk to your friends about it. You know, I think that the biggest thing I've learned in all this is that it is painful and problematic when you normalize abnormal behavior, right? And so you just start thinking, I'll overcompensate, I'll schedule my day, I'll do all of these things. But I've heard from so many people, so much feedback in the last 24 hours of how this is helping, just to talk about it.
Thank you so much, Linsey. I can't wait to learn more, and good luck with the surgery.
Thank you.